Hello, dear listener. My name is Sam, and I'd like to share a little story with you. But first, I need to let you in on a secret. I'm a boy who wants to be a girl. It's a secret I've kept for a very long time. I have to admit, when I dress as a girl, I borrow my sister's clothes when she's out and I'm home alone. I use the name Ashley, and when I'm dressed, I feel complete, whole, my true self. And honestly, I've been known to do some chores when I'm Ashley. I should also mention that I live with my mother and sister. My father ran off with one of his female colleagues, and my mother divorced him. But what I really want to tell you is about my first time venturing outside our house, learning how to truly be a girl. I devoured countless how-to videos on YouTube, read both my mother's and sister's magazines cover to cover, and, of course, continued to practice in secret. This sometimes led to accusations of me messing with my sister's makeup and other belongings. I denied everything. From then on, I was extremely careful. I was fortunate to have a part-time job because as I plotted my first outing as my feminine self, I began to acquire the items I knew I'd need. These included a dancer's gaff, a matching bra and panties, some breast forms, a beige polka dot dress, nude high heels, a handbag, and a mouse brown wig. I even managed to get a pair of feminine-looking glasses. Naturally, I also bought my own makeup. As an added precaution, I prepared some female ID. I stored everything carefully in my wardrobe, keeping the ID safely tucked away in the handbag I'd purchased. I continued to borrow my sister's clothes, and slowly, I gained more confidence as Ashley. But I still clung to my secret, even though I longed to shout from the rooftops that I wanted to be a girl. I stayed silent. Ashley became my secret girlfriend. I'd occasionally snap pictures of myself as Ashley and upload them to my laptop. Then, my mother informed me she was taking my sister to see her great-aunt. Unfortunately for me, I'd have to stay home. It was going to be a girls-only weekend. I had to hide a smile as I took a generous sip of coffee. This would be my chance to be Ashley for the entire weekend. I could finally be the girl I knew I was inside for the whole time they were away. So, on the Friday afternoon they were due to leave, I began to set everything in place for my sojourn as Ashley. After hugs and kisses from my mother, and promising I wouldn't throw any wild parties, I watched my mother and sister drive off towards Great Aunt Susan's. I was nervous as I waited an hour before beginning my transformation. The feminine transformation begins. To be on the safe side, I used hair remover on my body. I showered and watched the few hairs I had disappear down the drain. I checked myself over and carefully shaved any stray hairs. I examined my face and shaved closely, knowing I'd have to shave again in the morning. After dressing in a cream nightdress I'd purchased and putting on the matching nightgown, I returned to the bathroom. I reached for the facial mask gel I'd bought. It was similar to the one my mother and sister used. Following the instructions, I applied the mask. I prepared a drink and found myself slipping effortlessly into being Ashley. I didn't dare smile, fearing it might crack my face mask. I read a magazine, sitting on the sofa with my legs tucked under the gown and nightdress, feeling incredibly comfortable and feminine. I began to doze off. I was jolted back to reality by my mobile alarm. I removed the face mask and found my face was now wonderfully soft and smooth. I'd have to remember to use moisturizer in the morning. I caught sight of myself in one of the many mirrors we had around the house. A young woman smiled back at me. I took the time to do my nails, giving myself a manicure and a pedicure. Then I gently applied a soft, nude nail polish to each of my fingernails, ensuring an even coating. I allowed my nails to dry. Finally, I decided to head to bed. I slept wonderfully, having a very feminine dream, the softness of the nightdress calming my nerves. I woke to the soft tones of Jade, an all-girl group I liked, on my clock radio. I slowly got out of bed, had a light breakfast, and then started to prepare for my day. I showered, using my mother's shower gel and shampoo. I checked for any remaining hairs and shaved my face closer than I ever had before. I was meticulous, careful not to nick or cut my face, as that would ruin all the hard work I was about to embark on. First, I put on the dancer's gaff, adjusting it for comfort and to effectively conceal my boy bits. Then I slid my panties on to further hide the gaff. I paused briefly to look at myself. I looked like a girl, but without breasts. I rectified that by putting on the matching bra and inserting the breast forms. I adjusted everything for comfort and began my makeup routine. I put on my wig cap, adjusting it to completely hide all my male hair underneath. Checking my face again, I applied a little moisturizer evenly, followed by a bit of concealer matching my skin tone under my eyes. Reaching for the foundation, I gently applied an even covering over my face and neck. I followed the foundation with a light dusting of powder, which gave my face a soft, even canvas. I then focused on my eyes. I used eyeliner and soft, subtle shades of eyeshadow, blending them in as suggested by one of the many makeup tutorials I'd watched. A smile crept onto my face as, slowly and surely, Sam began to disappear and Ashley replaced him. I applied mascara to both my upper and lower eyelashes, taking care not to overdo it and ensuring I didn't get any on my face. A soft blush was applied to my cheekbones, blended seamlessly to look natural and subtle. Finally, I applied my lipstick, a soft, very light red that in certain lights could be described as pink. Stepping out as Ashley, I finished dressing. Light tan-colored tights gently hugged my hips and gave my legs a delightfully feminine shape. I slipped my dress over my head, making sure not to get any makeup on it, adjusted the fit, and finally closed the buttons at the back of my neck. I gently brushed out my wig and placed it carefully on my head, adjusting the fit and brushing it out again. Donning my glasses, I let out a girlish gasp as I caught sight of myself in the mirror. Sam was gone. Ashley was looking back at me. I took a closer look. I looked a little like my sister Grace, but there was a touch of my mother Helen there as well. I smiled, and the girl in the mirror smiled back. Slipping on my nude heels, I stood up and took another look at myself. I picked up my handbag and checked I had everything I needed: a purse with notes and change, some makeup for any touch-ups, some tissues, and some tampons. I don't recall where I picked up that little tip. I verified I had my female ID, house keys, and mobile phone, and then closed the handbag. I left my room and gently walked down the stairs, taking my time. Although I knew I could walk in heels, I didn't want to risk falling. The click of my heels against the hall floor gently reassured me, and I started to put everything I'd learned and practiced to use. I paused by the hall mirror and once again checked myself over, trying to find any fault, anything that would give me away as a male dressed as a female. Turning towards the front door, my heart began to race a little. I forced myself to calm down and reached for the handle. I took a breath, opened the door, and stepped out. I was now Ashley for the entire world to see. I gently slipped my handbag over my shoulder and walked towards the bus stop at the end of our driveway. Ms. Miller, one of my neighbors, smiled as I approached. She saw me as a woman. We chatted a little as we waited for the bus to arrive. I spoke softly and as femininely as I could, taking my time to not give the game away. The bus journey was uneventful, and I was treated kindly by everyone who saw me. A young man I knew from college tried in vain to chat me up. I gently but firmly told him I had a boyfriend, and although his offer was tempting, I wouldn't take him up on it. Had I passed a test? When the bus reached the mall, I decided I had to do some clothes shopping and start building a small wardrobe of my own. That way, I wouldn't have to borrow my sister's clothes. But I'd have to ensure that any clothes I did buy, I'd wash and dry myself. My first stop was BTO. It was a female clothing store that catered to all ages, and I knew I'd be able to find some clothes to fit me. I also knew the clothes would be tasteful. The customer assistant who helped me was fantastic. I explained what I needed, and together we put together several ensembles that I liked and knew I'd wear when I could. I also purchased some lingerie, as I felt I needed more female underwear. I even tried the clothes on in the female changing room, and no one was any the wiser. I thanked the assistant and paid for my purchases, and as I passed one of the mirrors, I paused and took a selfie. Another picture to add to my folder at home. A new friend, a new beginning. My confidence as Ashley had soared. I started to think that maybe, just maybe, I should tell my mother and sister the truth. Tell them that I wanted to be a girl like them. Let Sam gently fade away, as I didn't want to be like my father. But then again, there was the thought that if I did tell them, I would be rejected and possibly sent to live with my father. I shook myself, telling myself that it would be a bridge to cross if and when I reached it. Stepping out of BTO, I headed towards Lion and Wessel, a sci-fi store, to check for some Wonder Woman-related items. Excuse me. I turned at the sound of a voice behind me, which I knew belonged to Amy Carter. Can I help you? I answered in my best Ashley voice. Maybe you can, the young woman said. Are you by any chance related to John Smith? She asked, because you do look a little like him. She smiled and moved closer. Oh my, she whispered, Sam, is that you? I looked at Amy, taking a breath. I replied, I'm Ashley when I'm dressed as a girl, Amy. I paused. Sam. Sam is someone else. Amy smiled. You look amazing, Ashley. She grinned. You look so feminine, so graceful and beautiful, in fact. She paused. Let me get to know Ashley. I think she could use a friend. What do you say? I looked at Amy, a girl I admitted I had a slight crush on, and she wanted to get to know me as Ashley. Inwardly, I was surprised. I'd like that, Amy. I paused. I'd like that idea. I brushed my hair behind my ear. So you don't mind, Ashley? Amy grinned. You look too good. She smiled. And when I saw you in BTO, I recognized your phone. She chuckled. Now, let's go and grab something at the food court, and we can talk. We sat there and talked. I answered all her questions. I admitted that deep down inside, I wanted to be a woman. I told her about the young man who flirted with me and how I turned him down, but also admitted that there was a slight thrill, a warm and fuzzy feeling, as he only saw me as a woman. Amy told me that that was a sign I really wanted to be a woman, the fact that I liked the attention. She squeezed my hand. But what if a woman asked you out? She asked with a smile. Asked you out as Ashley? I looked at Amy. Are you asking me out? I paused, because if you are, my voice was softer now. The answer would be that I say yes, Amy. Amy let go of my hand. That's the answer I wanted to hear, she smiled. Because I'd like to get to know Ashley, the real Ashley. I'd like to get to know you. Well, I paused. My mother and sister are away this weekend. I have the house to myself. If you want to come back with me, we could talk some more. Amy chuckled. And you get to have your wicked way with me, she grinned. Or we could just get to know each other. I looked at Amy. Let's take it one step at a time. I paused. I wanted to see if I could be Ashley. I chewed my lip. I've proven that I can. I paused. But being Ashley long-term. I understand, Ashley, Amy said with a smile. I won't rush you. She squeezed my hand gently. But looking at you, and from what you've told me, Ashley is who you are meant to be. Now, what do you say to going home and continuing our conversation? I nodded in agreement. The bus journey home was as eventful as the journey to the mall. The same guy tried to chat me up, but Amy put him in his place. As I stepped off the bus, I turned towards my home's driveway. I stopped, and I went white under my makeup. My mother's car was sitting in the driveway. I was a little shocked as I wasn't expecting them home until tomorrow. Amy looked at me and took my hand. It's now or never, sweetheart. She kissed my cheek. You would have had to tell them at some point. I nodded in agreement, and I walked purposefully up the drive. I walked as Ashley because I had a feeling that after today, Sam would fade into memory. I opened the door and let Amy in. I placed my shopping in the hallway and walked towards the dining room and kitchen, Amy's presence and the gentle click of my heels reassuring me. My mother looked up and smiled as we entered the kitchen. My sister Lily sat there and grinned, acknowledging Amy with a nod. I knew I'd get to meet my other daughter one day, Mom said. I'm glad that it's today. She came over and hugged me. Does my daughter have a name? Ashley, I replied. My name is Ashley.